Tonight, a man is gunned down outside his house. His partner speaks out on the brazen crime while his family fears for their lives. Dr. Ernest Hilaire rubbishes government claims relating to his purchase of a luxury vehicle. And Dr. Pauline Prosper ignites social media as she breaks her silence on the candidate selection controversy in her first talk show appearance. We have the details coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovely St. Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Thursday, the 3rd of September 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. September has begun tragically for one Moshi family. On Wednesday night, 55-year-old Sylvester Louis was shot as he was exiting his vehicle outside his home. The family has been hit hard by this tragedy, given that Louis was killed on the eve of his sister's funeral. The sister herself was shot dead on the 20th of July on her way home from work. Our news team visited the family and spoke with Louis's partner and his nephew. Genevieve Gonzaga reports.
The Louis family of Moshi was plunged into further mourning on Wednesday, September 2nd. 55-year-old Sylvester Louis of Moshi was shot multiple times about the body directly in front of his home. 2 months prior, on July 20th, Louis's sister, 57-year-old Cecilia Louis, was shot in a similar fashion but on her way home. Hot 7 spoke with the girlfriend and relatives of the deceased to find out how they are faring. Girlfriend Beverly Aline says she is numb and at a loss for words to express the many emotions that she has been experiencing. She told Hot 7 that she was waiting on Louis to come into the house as she heard him arrive home, but that never happened.
I was ironing his shirt for today, for his sister's funeral. And I heard the vehicle, I heard when he reached. But I'm waiting so that I'm in the room ironing and I'm waiting on him to open the door to come in. But the door never opened. Then I heard some shots outside. So, no, I didn't know exactly if it was outside. I just heard some shots. And I'm like, where is this happening? So I left the ironing and then I went to the living room and I shift the curtain on the side and then I'm seeing he's right there in his vehicle lying down. And that was it. I called the ambulance. I was the one who called the ambulance, but I don't know for the police.
Family and community members say they heard the gunshots ring out loud and clear through the usually quiet Moshi community. Speculation is rife that Louis' death is connected to the killing of his sister Cecilia Louis, who was shot to death on her way home from work on the night of July 20th. Residents speculate that an ongoing land dispute could be at the heart of both matters. The nephew of the deceased explained that he cannot confirm whether that is actually the case, but says he, just like the rest of the family, are now living in a state of fear.
It kind of caught everybody by surprise, and we just we started to be frightened because we never know what can happen again. All of us feeling unsafe and all that.
Louis' partner, on the other hand, says she is not fearful, but is praying that justice prevails because her partner did not deserve to meet his demise in that fashion. By all accounts, Sylvester Louis was a quiet individual. His nephew says the family is devastated.
Everybody is just in a state of shock for now. Nobody can believe he's gone and the way they took him. Everybody is saying it's almost like a fairy tale. But its reality is gone, and we'll just have to accept it and hope that justice will be served.
This is the second person that this family has lost to gun violence in 2 months. Reporting from the community of Moshi for Hot 7 TV, I am Genevieve Gonzaga.
Thank you, Genevieve. For the past 2 months, 2 people have lost their lives to gun violence in the Moshi community. Residents are speaking out, calling for peace.
In the past 2 months, 2 individuals from the same family have lost their lives in a similar fashion in Moshi Grosile. 57-year-old Cecilia Louis was shot on July 20th on her way home from work, and on September 2nd, her younger brother, 55-year-old Sylvester Louis, was shot while exiting his vehicle in front of his home. Moshi is usually referred to as an upstate and quiet community. Following the September 2nd suspected homicide, Hot 7 reached out to members of the community to hear their views on the sudden turn of events in the community. Resident Francis Julius says given the levels of violent crimes in St. Lucia in general, there is need for more prayer and for people to be less judgmental and envious.
When I come in that community, it's always nice. So I don't see why people are to be against one another, because we have to survive. So I myself, as I know when I'm young, I make a lot of mistakes, but I try to correct my mistake for a long time. So I feel people here should believe in prayers, pray, do more praying, man. More praying, and so that everybody live in unity and peace. There's all this shooting going around there. I don't see why this still have to happen. Because we just passing that wall, you know. We don't live long. We just there to live and life, live and dead, you know. So what I want to say to the people of Moshi, I feel all of us are supposed to be united together and live a good life and believe in God. That's what I have to say.
Another resident says the level of crime is worrying and echoed calls for people to become more spiritual.
It's been so devastating for the past few weeks. That never happened into Moshi. Like, you know, they had one shooting, 2, 3, and then, like, you know, it's like, to me, like, I'm saying, what is really going on? I have no understanding. It is like a place that was so nice and calm, and then all of a sudden things just change, and then people just getting shot, and then no camera is nowhere. There's bushes and nothing, and then nobody down to take a step and see what's going on. So I'm feeling like into me with the Almighty. I'm saying, like, you know, I just want God to just come in and make people understand, like, yo, life is not just to come just kill people for what, even though it is for property or not property. I don't like it. To me, it's not supposed to be that way. I'm asking God, just please, just put a peace and put a hand or feet for them, or whoever that's doing that, I have to stop it, man. Stop it, please.
He urges people to put aside their differences and coexist peacefully despite differences.
I'm asking, like, you know, for the rep supposed to come from Gozilan, come up Moshi and put hands, put his voice and speak out to people, and then make sure, like, you know, we could make the Moshi to be a better place, because there was a very good place. I want police to be patrolling here each and every day. On non-close, close with, not just patrol and find and speak, man. And then I'm so happy you'll come to find out and know what's going on.
Members of the community believe that youth should find other ways to occupy their time and minds rather than turning to a life of crime. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Former St. Lucia High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, has come out to defend his name after the government of St. Lucia released a damning report about him, questioning whether he defrauded the British government. Dr. Hilaire categorically denies the claims against him and in response states that the government is weaponizing the office of the Prime Minister whilst using public funds to stain his name and reputation. He says if the government is so sure of its claims, then he challenges the government to repossess any of his belongings if it dares.
St. Lucia's former High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, has laughed off what he claims is just another failed attempt to destroy his name and image by a scared United Workers' Party government after a press release was issued from the office of the Prime Minister, accusing him of defrauding the UK government during his stint as High Commissioner. The press release addressed a long-running issue surrounding a vehicle purchased by Dr. Hilaire whilst he served as the High Commissioner and subsequently had the vehicle exported to St. Lucia. The matter has been raised on a number of occasions, each time with a fresh accusation leveled at Dr. Hilaire. The most recent one stated that he did not pay the VAT on the vehicle, thus engaging in fraud. Dr. Hilaire called the move a shameful misuse of the office of the Prime Minister.
The insecure and infantile Prime Minister Alan Chastain's uncontrollable and disturbing obsession with me continues and has intensified. Previously, I responded to oral statements, insinuations, and comments regarding the purchase, importation, and ownership of 2 vehicles. Now the Prime Minister has shamefully weaponized the official office, misused the resources of the state, and taken matters to a new level. He has now reduced the office of Prime Minister to a weapon against a political opponent in executing a baseless and vindictive witch hunt against me.
Dr. Hilaire said accordingly, he has instructed his legal team to take further legal action on his behalf to the fullest extent of the law to protect his reputation and his rights. Although limiting his details on the contents of the press release, he went on to debunk the latest claims.
Now there is a fourth spin. Not that the vehicle does not belong to me, not that it is stolen by me, but that I have now defrauded the UK government. Not the St. Lucian government, but defrauded the UK government by not paying VAT. How much is the VAT that they are referring to? £5,351. So this latest attack is that I did not pay VAT, not to the St. Lucia government, but to the UK government in the amount of £5,351. I maintain, as I've always have, that I committed no infractions or breaches, nor were my actions even unusual. The purchase of an item, vehicle or otherwise, for a relative or a friend is a normal, legal, and legitimate transaction the world over. Such transactions are executed thousands of times per day, and St. Lucia is no exception. There is nothing in the law of St. Lucia which prohibits such transactions.
Certain of his stance, Dr. Hilaire went on to issue this challenge to the government.
I challenge the Prime Minister that if he is convinced that I have acted in contravention of the law and he respects the rule of law, then let him and his surrogates take court action to repossess any property which I'm in possession of, which he believes is not rightfully owned by me. I shall continue then to exercise my right to sue him for abuse of public office and malicious persecution. And of course, he will have to face a political response that he has never seen before.
Dr. Hilaire states that items which are bought for export does not include VAT, and if it does include the tax, one can reclaim their money once the item is exported. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Thank you, Rochelle. The SLP's candidate for the Choiseul-Saltibus constituency, Dr. Pauline Antoine Prosper, made her talk show debut on the Hot 7 TV program, The Hot Seat, on Wednesday night. She ignited social media as she broke her silence on the candidate selection controversy. The political novice defended the party's process and her track record of community work. She also indicated that she has made moves to reach out to Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose following his explosive reaction to her selection by the party, but to no avail. Doubt has been cast on the St. Lucia Labour Party's candidate selection process following the selection of a candidate in the person of Dr. Pauline Antoine Prosper. Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose, who was also desirous of representing the SLP, claimed that a flawed process was used to select a candidate who does not have the support of the majority in the constituency. Dr. Antoine Prosper, who is the confirmed SLP candidate for the seat, made her talk show debut on Hot 7 TV's The Hot Seat with host Crystal Revere. Dr. Antoine Prosper rubbished claims of a manipulated and flawed selection process, but she conceded that the first deputy leader, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, excused himself from the selection interview, which took place as part of the process. Here is why.
The first vice had exempted himself because of issues that were being discussed on the ground. He felt that if he stayed away, that would be the best course of action.
You said that the vice president had excused himself. Is it the first vice had excused himself coming towards the end of the process? Was that because there were already issues on the ground? There was already a rift being driven between the two segments or of the party's branch down there, or were there other issues?
I am not sure exactly what the issues were, but as anything else in politics, there's propaganda. And I suspect he was playing safe to stay away since there was propaganda on the ground. that he was not part of the process.
Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose has announced his intention to run against the incumbent MP and the SLP candidate as an independent candidate in the next general election. Dr. Antoine Prosper says the mission to unite all SLP supporters in the constituency in the aftermath of the contentious fallouts between Dr. St. Rose and the party is a task that she is up for. She says efforts have been made on her part to mend the rift.
I will be honest with you that there are still some people who are not happy, and the onus is on me and the Labour Party to get to these people, to have dialogue as I have been doing, so that we can come together again.
In getting to these people, have you reached out to your opponent in the party, Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose, in order for you to bridge that gap?
I have attempted, but to be very honest with you, I have not been successful in getting Dr. St. Rose to have a dialogue with me.
Dr. Antoine Prosper says the election for a new constituency group has brought in fresh blood, people who are ready to work to bring victory home for the SLP. She says she remains undaunted in her task to unseat the incumbent MP, Bradley Felix.
On the ground, I have never taken anything for granted. So I've been going door to ensure that every vote is counted so that the St. Lucia Labour Party regains the Choiseul seat at the next general election.
The SLP candidate says she will win over the skeptics ahead of the next general election, and she is confident that she will be victorious against Bradley Felix and former SLP hopeful turned independent candidate Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose. You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, Sandals Regency La Toc reopens after the COVID shutdown, welcoming 80 guests. The president of the Principals Association gives an update on the current state of schools as they prepare to reopen on Monday. And the opposition leader calls out the Prime Minister to stop with the smoke and mirrors. That and more after the break.